Hey there, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Rachel Garceau, and here's your First Alert Weather Plus forecast as we turn our attention to what will end up being a stretch of intense heat. We've had pretty hot temperatures here in Boise and across the Treasure Valley off and on so far this summer season, but my big headline for the week ahead, feeling hot. We're talking days of triple-digit temps starting on Thursday, likely persisting into the weekend. And the kicker here, too, besides just planning for the heat, we also have to be prepared for the chances of some afternoon thunderstorms Thursday and Friday in the Boise area in particular, and then area-wide in the mountains and potentially the Magic Valley all the way through the weekend into next week. So a little refresher on where we've been the last couple of weeks. These are observed high temperatures for the City of Trees from the last 14 days. Of course, the hottest days we've seen so far this season was last Friday and Saturday with 103 and 104 respectively. Looking ahead at the next 10 days, I do think Thursday we have the possibility of getting up to about 103 in Boise. Temps back off a tiny bit through the weekend, but still I'm expecting multiple triple-digit days, and even as some clouds come in early next week and knock our temperatures back down to the mid to upper 90s. Typically we're at 93 for this point in the summer season, so every day you see here is a bit hotter than average. Now, we will have those storm chances, like I mentioned, for the Boise area. Greatest coverage will be Thursday, Friday. We dry up over the weekend, blazing sunshine on deck Saturday and Sunday, and then we see another surge of that monsoon moisture coming in early next week that brings those storm chances back in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What you're seeing here is likely not going to be rounds of just rain. This is mostly those late day thunderstorms that bubble up in the heat of the day and fizzle out pretty quickly after we lose the sun. And of course, not everyone is going to get hit with this storm activity. 30% coverage means the majority of areas in the Treasure Valley likely won't see storms each day, but the possibility, the ingredients certainly are there. And in the mountains and again, east of Boise, I do think it's a more daily occurrence that we could see a stray storm or two each afternoon. So here's that big picture setup. We have this ridge of high pressure that's really going to be our dominant weather feature over the next week. That's what's going to bring that intense heat our way. An area of low pressure off to the west will just kind of spin its wheels off to the west. It'll keep places like Seattle pretty comfortable, but we will be on the western fringe of this building heat dome. And with that clockwise rotation around that high pressure, it's going to funnel that monsoon moisture from the desert southwest right into southern Idaho. So you get that moisture coming in, saturating the atmosphere. We get the heat of the day, rising air that creates some instability. All those things coming together is what will lead to those scattered thunderstorms. So I'll start our futurecast here on Thursday. As I roll us forward into the late day hours, you can see, and this will be kind of rinse and repeat every single afternoon. Scattered storms pop up, not so much in eastern Oregon on Thursday. Drier air will hold out in eastern Oregon, so most of the storm activity Thursday will favor central and southern Idaho. Really spotty. Again, a lot of places will not see storm activity, and if you want to track the storms, they will start developing from to the south and roll northward. So keep an eye on the southern sky to track those storms. That all rolls out overnight Thursday into Friday. Most of our day Friday hot and sunny, but again, with the heat of the day Friday afternoon, we will likely see another round of storms. Now, these storms have the potential for producing 30 to 50 plus mile per hour wind gusts. Once you get to 50 miles per hour, that can be damaging. That can flip over loose outdoor items. It can topple some tree limbs. So something to be prepared for if you see these storms heading your way. And of course, lightning combined with those gusty winds and very dry fuels out there means fire danger will also remain critical this week. One note on Friday, at this moment, it doesn't look like the Treasure Valley will see much storm activity for the last day of the work week. It does look like points to the east are favored for that, but still, I can't rule out a spot shower or storm for the Boise area on Friday. And then on Saturday, we start seeing less moisture moving in, less instability, though. Again, in the mountains and in the Magic Valley, Saturday afternoon, we could see a couple storms play on repeat. Now, as far as rain potential, not much, really, and it really will depend on where those storms pop up. But best guess is that from now through Saturday evening, less than 1/10 of an inch of total rain will fall with all of those storm systems combined. Maybe a 1/4 inch in the Magic Valley, up to maybe a 1/4 inch as well for places like Stanley and Haley. So you can see that storm activity and the heavier rain will favor those points on the eastern edge of our viewing area. Drier as you head to the west and even up into the north. We could use the rain, though. So far, the first 2 weeks of July have been in pretty much dry, nothing measurable. We've had 2 days with a trace of rain. To get to measurable, it has to be 1/100th of an inch. So technically, we are at a goose egg so far at the Boise airport for the month of July. Now, this is one of our driest months. Typically, July and August are the driest months of the year on average. We only see about 0.2 of an inch in an average July, but still, with 2 weeks to go, we'll see if we can get a little closer to that number. And of course, on the firefighting front, we will take any bit of rain that we can get. But as far as that big picture goes, high pressure again is our dominant weather feature. There's that area of low pressure. You see kind of that circle right there. That's going to see, as I put this into motion, our upper level pattern. It'll kind of just spin its wheels slowly to the north and then stay there. And then our ridge of high pressure, this heat dome, really just kind of stays anchored over that Four Corners region. We are on the northwestern periphery of that heat dome, but hot enough that all the way through next week really doesn't change much, except for some clouds developing early next week as moisture moves back in underneath that ridge. That's what will knock our temperatures down a few degrees, but still pretty toasty in the days ahead. This is a very typical summer pattern. We do tend to see several triple-digit days in July. This is not unusual, but certainly something to prepare for if you're planning those outdoor activities over the next several days. So looking ahead to Friday, Boise will be right at the century mark, in the 90s for the Magic Valley, up in the mountains, even flirting with 90 in many spots. Further north, you can see Lewiston in the 90s as well. There's that cool air, though, helping keep Seattle and Portland in much more comfortable territory. How nice to 76 degrees in Seattle sound in the coming days. 76 will probably fly past that by about 9 or 10 in the morning. So if you look at Saturday, I did flip this. Not much change. It's a copy and paste scenario from Friday to Saturday, and same on Sunday. We may tack on a degree or two of warmth in places like McCall and Twin Falls off to the west. Seattle and Portland start to warm up as well as that cooler air retreats to the north. But really, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, no change in temperatures, just in conditions, where we'll see those slight storm chances linger east of Boise, but blazing sunshine overhead across the Treasure Valley. So as we look at our west central mountains, if you're planning a camping trip this weekend, again, be ready for those off and on storm chances. Majority of areas will not get hit, but gusty winds, quick rounds of rain could certainly put a damper on your camping plans if you're not quite prepared for it. So just keep an eye on the sky. You can see temperatures, though, stay very warm, mid to upper 80s in places like McCall from Thursday through Monday. Beautiful in the mornings, mid 50s. An extra blanket or two, not a bad idea to have with you, but all things considered, that's pretty comfortable waking up in the morning in the mountains. Looking at the 7-day forecast for the Magic Valley, you can see it's a little bit busy. We keep those storm chances, they're low, but we keep that storm chance in play every afternoon through the weekend into early next week. Temperatures remain toasty, no triple-digit readings here, but normally this time of year, Twin Falls is only at 89, so mid-90s is quite a bit above average. We'll get a little closer to normal by next Tuesday and Wednesday. That's also, though, when we start seeing higher coverage of those thunderstorms. And again, most of this activity will be late in the day.